actually predicted that Jokic was going to have one of these kind of performances in the game last night, which he did. But why wasn't Jokic's 44-point performance enough for the Nuggets to win?
Well, he just needed a little more help on the defensive end, because usually when he has big games like this, they usually win. Now, they didn't get much off their bench. Russ struggled to score, but I liked his hustle and the things the intangibles that Russ gives you. It was just the fourth quarter. They couldn't put the ball in the basket, and OKC caught fire. You saw Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just took over. And, you know, if that had any indications on who's the MVP of the year of this season, I still don't know, because of the way Joker played and the way SGA played. And I know that these games in the playoffs don't, you know, really tell the tale or who should win the regular season award. But, man, if I had to choose an MVP, I have to say it's Cole. But as far as Joker's 44 on the game last night, that's one they let get away. They led the whole game. Michael Porter Jr., he's got to give him a little more than he gave him. He's starting giving you 30 minutes, and I know he's been plagued by a shoulder injury. That's still no excuse. You can help the team in other ways, your rebounding, your defense, and he's just not getting it done. I mean, when the big fella, when in my eyes the MVP gives you these type of performances, you have to capitalize on it, and they just did it. And I say a lot of that had to do with the non-production of Michael Porter Jr. and really not getting much from the bench, which Westbrook leads. He has to be better for them.
We ain't gonna get tired of coming on the show at the top talking about Michael Porter Jr. Got to give you more. At some point, that's gonna stop,
that's what
right?
I'm saying. I know he's dealing with an injury, but if that's the case, I feel like you got to play Westbrook a little more.
Well, but Westbrook got to at least hit the rim a couple
but his energy, though, Key, it's infectious. He do all the hustle thing. At least he giving me that.
Yeah, he gives you some hustle stuff, but he was missing poorly on them threes, though.
He'll get the steal, airball the three.
Oh, man. But it didn't even, I was like, me and friends, we got a little chats going on, whatever. We sit there, we going, damn, man, he look like you out there shooting. You know, just missing everything. But he did at times give him a little bit of spark in the past, so we'll see. Your question is, the Joker's 44 enough to win? No, he needs help, like Paul said. You start off with Michael Porter Jr., Gordon 13, yeah, that's okay. But in the fourth quarter, outside of Joker, who was one of two, they 0 from 10 from 3 down the stretch. And the game was close enough to if they was to hit some of those threes, it could have been a different outcome for them. You can't expect every single game for your superstar player to carry the team. And I understand he's the guy, the potential MVP and all of those things and whatnot, but you can't expect for him to do it all the time. Some other people have got to come up and step up to the plate. If you look at Oklahoma City, everybody contributed that got minutes. Everybody. They done something, whether it was rebounding, whether it was assists, whether it was scoring points. They didn't leave Shai out there all by himself to just be the MVP. They contributed and helped them. And because of that, they're able to get out of there in the fourth quarter and win the game. Come from behind, pass them up at home, and win the game.
Yeah, they only got 10 points from the bench. 2 points from Michael Porter Jr. They're not deep enough, and their depth isn't consistent. OKC is a developing young team. They're learning how to close games out. Seen that multiple times throughout this series. They did a good job containing Jokic the past few games, but he was going to have a breakthrough game at some point. He's a 3-time league MVP and arguably the best player on the planet. Paul even said it before at the end of the show yesterday that Jokic is due to figure out what it is that OKC is doing and have a big game. And he did, and he's having legendary performances again throughout this series. He's the first player since Wilt to record multiple games with 40 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists in a single playoff series. So they shouldn't be in this situation. They squandered that performance from Jokic last night. Can't blame Murray. You got to get more from Michael Porter Jr. because he is starting. And look, for what you want to say about Westbrook, they can only go 3 deep.
Yeah.
So what more can you ask for? Like, there's only so much scoring that you're going to get from there. Like, yes, you can do hustle plays and all these other things and contribute and rebounding and energy and all that stuff, but you also got to score more baskets than the other team to win.
Yeah.
So when you're missing 3-pointers down the stretch, this was a close game, the Thunder go on an 8-0 run and you miss the next 3 threes that you take, well, that's the game right there. So you've got to make your shots, you've got to support Jokic, and you can't ask for more from him. Like, what more can you ask from Nikola Jokic than what he's giving you? And your second best player in Murray.
That 3 was crazy, though. The one
But see, you got to win these games. The reason you win these games is because you expect your star to be stars, right?
Yeah.
You go into the game and say, all right, if he do what we need him to do, and he do what we need him to do, the guys who win you the games are the role players. And to me, the guy who actually won them the game yesterday was Lou Dort. He hit 2 big threes in the fourth quarter. I was just like, when they was making their run, when they was coming back, Lou Dort, they left him open. He just knocked down 2 threes. And I was like, those are the shots you got to make from your role players for you to win. And Michael Porter, he didn't get that done. I mean, like Aaron Gordon, he's coming to the party. But you need these guys. Chris Brown, he's got to show at Westbrook. They got to come to the party. And what I'm seeing night in and night out from the role players from OKC is they're showing up because they're stars. Even though Jalen Williams has struggled, he's been their other all-star this year. But Chet Holmgren, he's been solid. Alex Caruso, oh my goodness. He's the glue. To me, he is the stone cold gorilla glue that's holding them together. I'm talking about he knocks down open threes, hustle plays, guarding whoever out there. Every time, I promise you, every time I watch the game when they play and he get an open shot, I say that's going in every time. It's gotten to the point where Alex Caruso, I feel like he's gonna he look like Klay Thompson out there every time he shoot. And you need those type of guys, somebody you can kind of depend on. And he's a guy that they say, hey, off our bench, we can depend on him every night to get us between 13 and 15 points. And if you got people, the more people you got that you can count on in that department, the farther you can go and the more you win games. And Denver just doesn't have that outside of Joker and Murray on a consistent basis. Say, hey, this guy I can pin him in for 15 on a bad night, on a great night for 20 points.
Yeah, I mean, like the box score doesn't always tell the story of the game, but in this case, it looks very unbalanced.
Really
and
unbalanced.
If you're going to have a starter struggling the way that Michael Porter Jr. is, you've got to have consistent contributions from your bench, which the Nuggets just don't have. Like, how much more scoring do you want Jokic to do?
No, I mean,
and then down the stretch, to your point, hit some shots. Yeah. Why are you falling apart in the fourth quarter? I mean, is that coaching? Is it an exhaustion?
No, and the thing about it, Joy, they've been in hostile environments. They've won a championship. Yeah. You know, when you win a championship, there's no situation you've never been in. So, like, when you get in these environments, and that's why they played so well up until the end, because they're used to being in this type of environment. And these are situations where they normally hit these shots. They just didn't last night. And it was a total letdown based on what Joker was doing, because he was putting together a classic performance. And like you said, Key, that one shot he hit when they were down 3, that was ridiculous. I jumped out my seat like, what is going on? I thought I was watching a classic sports game. It was that exciting. And if that's any sign to come, this series is going 7. Man.
Those pesky Pacers, Paul.
Pesky.
What have the Pacers proved this postseason?
They proved to me that they're a deep, well-coached, with the point guard who lifts his teammates for the last 2 years, and they can be a finals threat. I'm serious. I'm watching this, and I said this during the season. I said at the start of the playoffs, I said, man, we got to watch the Pacers, because their experience from a year ago getting to the conference finals, where they dealt with some injuries, because I remember that Tyrese Halliburton was dealing with some injury issues in the playoffs would kind of set him back. And from top to bottom, with the rest of the Eastern Conference teams that are left, I'm not sure if there's a team that can go 10 deep like the Indiana Pacers, and all these guys can play, from Obi Toppin, but Benedict Mathurin. These guys are coming off their bench, and you can argue that they could be starters for other teams. TJ McConnell is as solid as they come for a backup point guard. And don't let me get to Tyrese Halliburton, a guy who was labeled by NBA peers to be overrated. He's out there telling them to overrate this with these big guys. You know what I'm saying? And I'm overrate this to the conference finals and possibly an NBA finals appearance, which I feel like they can get to, barring the Celtics don't make it past the Knicks. If it's Knicks versus Pacers, I believe that the Indiana Pacers are deep enough, coached well enough, and have star power with enough dogs on this team to get them to the finals.
Again, here's a team much like OKC. Everybody that played, except McConnell didn't. I mean, he played. He was a -16, but he played. Everybody else contributed at a very high level, whether it was rebounding, assists, playing defense, scoring, whatever the case is. So like Paul is saying, you got the depth. And they are true contenders that come out of the East. If you look at the way that they got in there, they took care of business to the Bucks, although the Bucks lose Dame Lillard. You say to yourself, okay, they won that game in 5. They lost third game, they got them in 5. Same thing with the Cavs. They lose game 3, they get them in 5. They're gonna be rested, okay, waiting on whoever comes out the East, because I still think Boston will push the Knicks to 7. But yeah, they're real contenders, I think, especially up against what's left coming out of the West. If they were to make it to the finals, they'll be real contenders to win a championship.
They are a lot better than we've given them credit for. They dominated the Cavs throughout this series. And I know that injuries have played a role, but the Cavs had their stars out there. And when you're talking about 2 gentlemen sweeps, like, no matter what, they've dominated the postseason so far. And we did not give them enough credit going into the postseason. And they're back in the Eastern Conference Finals. I do think it's going to look much different than the Eastern Conference Finals did last year, because they are really a contender. And when you're looking at either of the teams that they would be facing, even if the Celtics were managing to get out of it, they're not going to have their star back. Tatum's out. Yeah. So I think they would be a perfectly reasonable matchup with the Celtics if they were able to get past the Knicks also.
They like that. I don't know. They like that mosquito. I'm telling you, like, you know how you be in the backyard or wherever you be, and it just bothers them right now. You like,
mosquitoes can kill you though.
Like, yeah, they can kill you too. Them one of them African ones. They can kill you. I'm telling you. They like, man, I wouldn't mess with them, man. They gonna be a problem. They gonna be a problem in this Eastern Conference Finals.
Those are real peace.
Like the Cleveland. Who is at fault, Paul, for the Cavs' disappointing early exit?
Man, it's a lot of people you got to throw in there. First, you got to start off with the coach. It just seemed like he got thoroughly outcoached by Rick Carlisle. Carlisle, you know, he's won an NBA championship. You know, Atkinson, he may get Coach of the Year. You know, this is the first time, or this is actually the 5th time. What is the 5th or 4th time that a 64-win team?
Fourth time? Yep.
Got a 64-win team gets knocked out of the second round. And see, this is a stat, I didn't know that until right before we came on the studio. The Cavs' home record versus the rest of the NBA is 36-5 versus the Pacers this year, 0-5. That can't get it. Maybe it's some, you know what, the thing about this Eastern Conference, and it's about the playoffs in general, I feel like this year was more about the matchup than any other year I can think of. You know, it was just about if they match up with them, they can beat them regardless of what seed they are. And because the Pacers matching up against the number 1 seed, I mean, it looked like a bad matchup for them. The Pacers was the 8th seed. I mean, no, not the 8th seed. They were the 5th, what were they, 5th, 4th seed? That was just a bad matchup for them in the second round. And just like Minnesota was a bad matchup for the Lakers, even though the Lakers had a higher seed. You know, we're seeing just how styles make fights at some point. No matter how good you are during the regular season, it's just certain teams that have your number. But Coach Atkinson, he has to be put on the hook for this. Donovan Mitchell, what more can I say, man? He didn't shoot the ball particularly well. He went 8 for 25. I get it. But then we say, you know, he shot poorly, but he had 35. He was a -3. You know, which is not that bad. But then we see guys like James Harden who don't shoot and say, hey, and we all go out there and say, hey, at least I'm going to go out swinging. Well, Donovan Mitchell, he went out swinging. That man, he was aggressive all night. He didn't make shots. But in order for Cleveland to take the leap, Evan Mobley has to become their best player. I love Donovan Mitchell, but Evan Mobley has to take another leap next year if they want to take the next step and becoming a championship contender next year.
Lakers been out the playoffs for weeks now, man. No need for you to mention the Lakers.
Oh,
anyway.
Any chance we get a chance to slap them around, you know we're going to do that.
I think it comes to injuries and a little bit of the coaching. You know, Donovan Mitchell was aggressive. He got to the foul line 21 times. That's a lot. So that tells you right then and there he was aggressive with everything. And
he did his part.
He did what he could do.
For the most part.
He did what he could do for the most part. I just think that I believe we gave them the number 1 seed based on the record, right? I mean, like, we really felt good about who they were because the record said that they won 64 games or whatever the case is.
Yeah, but there were points throughout the regular season where they were truly dominant, too.
That may be the case. There's been a lot of teams that were truly dominant throughout the regular season, but the postseason basketball changes. And clearly it changed to the degree that they're now sitting at home after 5 games.
Right.
And we can contribute that to injuries and coaching as well. But I think we still, it's just like Paul just said about the Lakers. Well, the Lakers really, in all honesty, a 3 seed? Like, really? Like, we know the record got them there, but were they really a 3 seed up against Minnesota?
Were the Rockets really a 2 seed?
Yeah, were the Rockets really a 2 seed? Like, were they really a 2 seed? I know the record got them there. And was Cleveland really a 1 seed? Were they really the 1 seed? Because they got dominated as if they were the 8th seed, the 6th seed, the 5th seed. That's just, you got to look at it that way.
You know who they kind of remind me of? The Raptors from 2015 to 2018.
Ooh, that's a good one. Who, Indiana?
2018. No, the Cavs.
The Cavs?
Before Kawhi got there.
Okay.
They're just a team that's like really well coached.
Yeah.
Really consistent. You remember they finished 2nd
Yep.
in 2015, 2016, 3rd in 2017. They had the 1st seed in 2017-18.
Yeah.
And every year we're like, man, it's the Raptors. Like they're really solid. They've got good play. They're really good throughout the regular season. They're finishing at the top of the East. They're going to break through this year. And they did break through when they got Kawhi.
Right.
But that's kind of what they feel like to me. Just a team that is really good during the regular season, really well coached. Remember, Dwayne Casey won Coach of the Year that year.
And he got fired the next year.
And then what happened? They brought in Kawhi and they won a championship. Not saying it was Dwayne Casey's fault, but I'm saying that they remind me of that team where it really may be that they need
one more player,
one more big piece.
Ooh, that may be it. But I saw Max Strus on the internet, said he called his team and was like, guys, we don't lay down, we got to show up or something. And then he came out and laid an egg. Like you got to have guys step up.
But don't you think it's more than just like toughness?
When you get to the playoffs, when you get to the second round, it's the game plan is the game plan. Like everybody, look, Joy, I'm telling you, we get a key. I don't know what y'all playbook look like. We get a book like this. Everything, I know everything about you, but by the time game 3 come and game 4.
You mean scouting report?
Scouting report. Oh. Yeah, a scouting report book, just like this. And I get the DVDs to show my age. We had DVDs, DVD player, we sit on a bus, plane, wherever, watch them, put them in the car, watch them every stoplight. And
yeah, we had computers.
Yeah, we had the DVD.
Now they have files, they said.
Like at some point, it comes down to the mental adjustments. And the Cleveland didn't make those mental adjustments. Like tonight, Boston, this is a mental adjustment they got to make. It don't have nothing to do with the game plan. This is a toughness thing tonight. No Jason Tatum. This is a toughness thing.
You said a big piece? They need a big piece, you feel?
Well, I mean, I just don't think that we overthought it with the Cavs. Like, I think the Cavs were a legitimately great regular season
LeBron back to Cleveland might be a good one.
Here it goes.
We can, LeBron back to Cleveland, like Paul was saying that earlier in the year, he should go back to Cleveland and finish it up. So maybe that's the piece that they're missing again. Bring him back and finish the deal. Cleveland, this is for you.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.